Good morning. In the last class, we have discussed about that what is reproduction, what is the importance of reproduction, why that variation is helpful for survivalship of the particular organism, and if we already know about the different mode of reproduction, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. For the asexual reproduction, there are several methods like fission, fragmentation, regeneration, budding, vegetative reproduction, and spore formation. In the last class, we have finished that fission and fragmentation. Today, we will start from the regeneration. So, what is the regeneration? Regeneration is a process to give rise a new individual organism from their any part of the body. So, if the individual is somewhere cut or broken, if the individual is somewhere cut and broken in case of that hydra. In case of hydra, in case of hydra and in case of planaria, that is planaria, the regeneration of planaria. So in case of planaria, what happened if you make an incision from this portion or from this portion, they will give rise a new individual from each of the cutting pieces. But the thing is that organism should be in mature stage, means they should have the capacity to this should have the capacity to regenerate new cells. Okay, this is the hydra. In case of hydra, what happened? They are cut into different pieces, and whenever the pieces is coming from, so it is growing, giving rise a new tiny hydra, and it acts as a daughter cell. So it carried out by the specialized cell known as a stem cell. These cell proliferate and make large number of cells. These changes takes place in an organized sequence. Regeneration is not same as reproduction. And regeneration of hydrite. Hydrite is a multicellular organism. Multicellular organism means it's a more than 50,000 cells, and the cells are arranged in two layers. So they can be cut into any number of pieces, and each piece can grow into a separate new individual. In case of regeneration of planaria is also known as flatworm. Okay, so planaria are known for their ability to regenerate of the missing body parts very quickly. And whatever cut is has been made from any point of, like from head, from tail, or from the body parts, it will go into a separate new individual. Okay, so that is I already informed you regarding that. This says that regeneration is not the same as reproduction. Why? Do you ever notice that lizard, somewhere what happened, sometime the tail of the lizard, somehow it is cutting down from their body. It's completely separated, and then after 3 to 4 days, the new tail is going to arise. How? So this is also the process of regeneration. It is a replacement of lost part or or repair the damaged body organ. Regeneration of lost tail of lizard and lizard. So healing of wound, like sometimes what happened, we may have cut in your hand and leg. So what happened? The process of healing, it's also a regeneration. The wound is repaired to close by the expansion of the adjoining epidermis layer over the wound. Okay. There is the zebrafish. This fish, so if you noticed over here, so that yes, the portion has been cut from here. After the 20 days, after almost, yeah, it's almost 20 days, the new peen will arise. Okay. So this is uh, the process of regeneration. So regeneration is not same as reproduction, but mm, but what happened in case of Hydra and Planaria, regeneration is a process through to make a new individual. Okay. Now it is budding. Budding Hydra is also a multicellular organism, and it has mainly two main layers of the body cells. Hydra use regenerative cells for reproduction in the process of budding. So in case of budding, what happened? A very tiny outgrowth is coming from a very particular cell. Okay, very specific cell rather. So that outgrowth is gradually increasing in size, and ultimately they develop into a very tiny new individual. I marked it over with a red color. Okay, and whenever they are fully mature and can able to survive without their parents' help, they are going to separate from their parents' cell and parent's body and acts as a new individual. This is a process called budding in Hydra. So now, what is the vegetative propagation? What is a vegetative propagation? In case of vegetative propagation, it's mostly we mostly notice the vegetative propagation in plants. It's very common. The plants, whenever the plants, the root, stem, leaves is developed into the new plant under appropriate condition. This is used in a method such as layering, grafting to grow many plants like sugarcane, roses for agricultural purpose. Plant raised by this process can bear flowers, fruit earlier than those produced from seed. You should have to remember this point. The plant raised by this process can bear flower and fruits earlier than those plant produced from seed. Here, I'm giving the idea of that vegetative propagation in hibiscus. This is sugarcane and this is rose. So the vegetative propagation, the another method, what is the utility of the vegetative propagation? So that is very important that all the plants produced by the vegetative propagation are genetically similar enough to the parent plant. Okay, so they don't have any kind of mixing with other genes or other variety. Why? Because they are directly, this is the portion from parent body, and they are carrying this exactly same copies of DNA, whatever is there in their parent copy. The same thing is carried forward in the new individual. And this method also make possible the progression of plants such as banana, orange, rose, jasmine that have lost the capacity to produce seeds. Means they are very much they don't want to spend their energy in reproduction. They are very much happy with the vegetative propagation. So they are saying we don't need to produce seed. That vegetative propagation they used to keep growing with the help of and keeping their that species alive with the help of the vegetative propagation only. This is the example of bryophyllum, where the buds produced in the notch along the leaf margin fall on the soil, and whenever it get moisture condition, then the small plantlets are coming from the margin of the leaf. Okay, and if you detach them and put it in the soil and separately, they will generate as a new plant. Here, few examples for the vegetative mode of propagation. Okay, there is a sweet potato. Here, root propagation. The root is acting as a say is a particular part which can able to give which can able to give rise a new plant, and that is a process of vegetative reproduction. In case of ginger, that rhizome, that birds are coming from there. If you separate it and put it in the soil, it will may rise a new plant. The tube at the potato, that small, sometimes you notice in that winter condition, winter time, that some eyes, the germinating eyes are coming out, that small green portion is coming out, and if you separate, cut them and put it in that soil in the moisture condition, so they will give rise a new plant. Okay, and from that plant, this is the process of vegetative propagation in case of potato. This is bryophyllum, this is adventitious root, and the bulb for that onion. Okay. And then now come to the spore formation. So spore formation, what is this? Did you ever notice that sometime if you keep that bread for a long time, then what happened? If you keep that bread for a long time, so you will notice that black, sometime reddish kind of appearance. It's is reddish kind of things appeared in the surface of the bread, isn't it? So what is this? Uh, the same, if you observe it under the microscope, so you will find the thread-like structure develop on the breads called hyphae. Okay, the hyphae are the spore-bearing structure. They that hyphae, that outgrowth, that hyphae is not the reproductive part. It is a portion where they can hold the reproductive structure. The bread mold, the rhizopus is also known as bread mold. The bread mold bears bulb on a stick structure. The bulbs are known as sporangia. Here, this is the hyphae. This is the stalk, and this is that bulbous structure is known as sporangia. Okay, sporangia, it's a plural form, and sporangium, it's a singular form. Here, that I have indicating two spores means sporangia, and if we are talking about one bulb-like structure, so it is a sporangia. Within the sporangium, spores are there, and the spores, whenever the sporangium is an envelope-like structure. It's a sac-like structure where spores are inside with that sac-like structure. The spores come into contact with moist surface or in a favorable condition, and thus each and every spore have the capacity to germinate a new plant. So the example is rhizopus. Okay. So now this is the time for a few questions. Whatever we have learned over here, we can go through few questions. Okay, try to solve this question with your own. Plant produced by vegetative propagation takes long time to grow, less time to grow, both A and B, none of this. So plant reproduced by vegetative propagation take less time to grow. Okay. We already discussed this thing. Vegetative propagation in sweet potato takes place by root, leaf, seed, and stem. We also know this. For the example that that sweet potato vegetative propagation has been done with the help of root. Vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, reduction, division, none of this. So vegetative propagation is a cell division. It's only normal cell division. So there is a mitotic cell division. So this is a not the reduction division or not the sexual from reproduction. This is asexual reproduction only. The Spirogyra reproduces asexually by spore formation, fragmentation, budding, or cutting. If you remember that in the last day class, Spirogyra reproduce asexually by fragmentation. It's reproduced by fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, and layering. That is obviously if you are talking about the yeast reproduction, so always it will be budding. Okay. So reproduction is essential for living organism in order to keeping the individual organism alive, fulfill their energy requirement, maintain growth, continue the species generation after generation. So if you go for those kind of MCQ, so which one is the very appropriate answer you should have to take only this. So here maintain the growth. Growth is cell division. It is not talking about that generation and how it is going to maintain their life or maintain the species, maintain the existence of the species is not mentioned over here. Okay, energy requirement is not true. Keep the individual organism alive. This is also not true. So continue the species generation after generation. This is the correct answer. During favorable condition, amoeba reproduce by multiple fission, binary fission, budding, or fragmentation. If you remember, we already discussed about that amoeba reproduce by binary fission. Hydra usually reproduce by fragmentation and budding. Just be careful and think about this question. Fragmentation and budding, regeneration and budding, multiple fission and fragmentation, none of this. If you remember that Hydra, so that budding is important because in the diagram also we notice that a small tiny portion of tiny hydra is coming out from the side of that hydra. So that regeneration, and whenever that regeneration slide, if you can remember, so regeneration and budding is the correct answer. Which among the following is a multicellular organism that reproduce by budding? Which among the following is a multicellular organism that reproduce by budding? Hydra, Planaria, Spirogyra, and Rhizopus. That if they mention only particularly budding, so budding and Hydra will be the example. Will be the answer. The ability of a cell to divide into several cells during reproduction of plasmodium is known as do you remember that plasmodium? So multiple fission, budding, binary fission, and reduction division. If you remember the plasmodium, so there is no particular plane of it. So they are dividing in a very random way, and then they form a colony-like structure within a sac. So multiple fission will be the correct answer. Okay. So in the last class we will discuss in the next class we will discuss about the sexual reproduction. What is the importance of sexual reproduction? And first that plant reproduction we will discuss. And for now, thank you.